Alright guys, welcome to another Autronics video. In this video we are working on this MacBook, and the model number for this MacBook reads A1297, and this has been sent in to us with stating that battery is charging but does not power on, suspected main board issue. Okay, alright, this is quite a nice one. It's a MacBook Pro actually. Alright, cool. So let's plug up some power and let's see what sort of amperage draw that we get from our power supply here. So we get no green light over here at all. Okay, what happens if we press the power button? Anything? Nothing. Okay, cool. So let me take this board out of the casing of the laptop, and then I will put it on the motherboard and I'll show you how to fix this. So bear with me while I do that. Alright, so the main board's out of the motherboard. I've taken the fans out as well, so we don't really need that. I do have the power button connector here, so let's plug that up. And this is becoming quite common with this model, this particular fault. And what I want to actually show you is, before you dive into any other further diagnostics, first of all, check your fuse. So we put it on the continuity scale. So we touch the two probes. There's the fuse here. Alright, so that fuse is good. So that's what you start off by doing, because you've got your power connector, and then you've got your fuse, and then the power distribution to the rest of the board. So you check those first before you go ahead and do anything else, because it could just be that fuse that's blowing. One of the other checks that I do as well is I check the resistance to ground, and so I always have my so actually what I do is I put it on continuity scale, and then I check for continuity. Yep, that's good. And then I move it to my diode scale. So I take the red probe and I place it on any of these ground points, and I check on either side of the fuse. Yep, that's great. 1.2 forward voltage drop there, and then I go again with the red probe on ground, and then I check my resistance to ground. So I got 37 on the one side and got the same 37.79 kilo ohms on the other side. So that's one of the ones that I do. Work you through that. Now the area that we'll be working on is this bit here. Okay, so that's the area that we'll be working on. I can probably bring it up to you so you can see. So you've got your chipset there, you've got a coil here, and actually I'll do this with this so you can see. So you got your chipset there, you've got your coil up here, and that's the capacitor, the tantalum capacitor that we're working on right there. Okay, so that's the one we're going to be removing. And how do I know that's the one that's faulty? So okay, let's do that. So let's bring in our multimeter, plug that up, and we should be getting around 1.2, 1.3 volts in that line. So we'll plug our circuitry in here, plug in our power supply from our our charger cable from our power supply there, and then we work our way first of all to the fuse. We have got it on DC volts here, and we check that side, and we get our full 17.98, and on this side obviously we should get that. Now we'll move this to this side, and this is the capacitor that I'm talking about. So if I zoom you guys in, perhaps maybe you'll have a better view of what I'm doing. So I actually want to have the multimeter in the screen as well. So okay, so on this side of the tantalum capacitor we're getting 0.319, and that's bad. That's not enough to turn this motherboard or supply voltage to any of the other areas. Okay, when you're replacing this chipset, or when you're replacing this tantalum capacitor, pay very close attention to where this positive side is placed. Okay, if you get it the other way, you're going to wreck a lot of things around that area, especially the small chipset here. Okay, so always pay attention to that, and if you're starting to do these sort of repairs, take a photo of what that orientation looks like. The one we'll be replacing is from this motherboard here. This is an old scrap board that I don't really need, and I'm just going to take for parts. So we will extract this one from here, replace it onto there. There's other ones you can use as well, but I rather prefer to use the one there because of the size and things like that. So let's let us do that. We will disconnect power from the motherboard. Okay, let's bring that into focus. I'll bring a metal plate under this bit here. Okay, when you're applying heat to this section, be very, very, very careful, okay? I always tend to mask anything that I feel that it can get damaged in and within this area, so I always use this aluminium tape over this part of the board because I don't want the heat to go anywhere further than where I'm actually aiming it towards. So let's do that. Okay, and then apply a bit of the flux that I use is this one here, Amtech Tacky Paste, halogen free NC559-ASM. That's the one that I've been using, and it's quite good actually, I like it. So I apply a bit of flux on that area. Let's do that. Grab our heat gun. I've set it at 450 degrees Celsius at 40 airflow. I'll wait for that to reach temperature. Let's heat up the surrounding area before I dive into further in. So I'm not pointing it toward this GPU, I'm pointing it away from that, so you can see that. Okay, when you there you go. Okay, take your time, don't rush with this. Don't try and pull it when it's not even ready to come off. Okay. It's taken a bit longer than expected. So the location of this capacitor is C7771, and I'll confirm that later as well. That's taking a tad too long. So what I will do is I'm going to apply a bit of solder, fresh solder, to either side of the chipset. Some fresh solder here. Should have done this right at the beginning, but it's okay. And mix it with the one that's on the motherboard. It's okay. And sometimes you can get away with just using this solder and just reflowing that. I can use a bigger tip for the soldering iron, but this one's okay. Alright, now let's bring back the heat gun again. So away from the green chipset that's here. Hope you can see that. And there you go. So with that being out, that's the one we removed. And we will remove the other one from here. So let's do that. Okay, that's our new one. Let's get this board out of the way. Okay, let's apply a bit of flux on here. And then re-tin this area here with some new solder. There you go, that's enough. It's a bit more than what is expected, but let's bring the heat gun back. Bring our new capacitor back in. The way I do this is I apply heat to the area like that, and once the solder starts to turn a bit more silver and a bit more runny, I will add the capacitor to it. Yep, so that looks like it's about ready. And again, pay attention to the orientation of it. So that's it there. Press down. That's it. Okay, that's it. That one's done. And a bit of flux. And then just use your soldering tip to extract the excess that's on there. There you go. Yep. And then we will remove the tape that we had put on. Bit of ISO on the area. And just a toothbrush. There you go. Alright, so there we are. There we go. We'll put that back in, and now let the board cool down a little bit, and then we can test it again. Okay, the board's cooled down enough. I've gone ahead and attached the fans as well, and remember it was right in there that we replaced that tantalum capacitor with a new one, the J8. Okay, now let's plug our power and see what sort of voltage do we get here. So bring that in. Remember we had 0.3 volts prior. Let's plug that. Multimeter in focus. Find a ground point, which can be this one here. And if we probe on this side, we get 1.1. Great. So now we can plug this back into the motherboard and see what sort of results we can get from there. So let me do that and I'll rejoin you. Okay, so the motherboard's back into the casing of the laptop, and all the connections have been made: the keyboard, the mouse, the hard drive, the speaker, etc., the screen, And now let's plug some power up onto this motherboard and see what sort of reaction do we get. Have we fixed it? So let's get this on. Open this and press the power button on. And there we go. We've got a decent fan spin. You can hear the disk drive there working. And we remove this. We should be able to see an Apple logo, and we do. There you go, guys. So this one's back to life. And just a little bit of a recap what we did. We diagnosed the fault. We had power going to the board. We checked that the fuses are good. We checked near the chipset that the C7771 Tantalum Capacitor did not get enough voltage to it, and therefore we replaced it with another one and put another tantalum cap in there. We had our initial voltage at 0.3, which was not sufficient enough, and we needed 1.3 or 1.1 volts present, which after replacing the tantalum cap, that became evident that it was there. And after that, we reassembled the board back into the casing of the laptop and powered it on, and we're good to go. So that seems to be a common fault with this model here, and it's a easy, straightforward fix from there. The tantalum caps can be found on our website, or I can put a link to where you can get it from. I do hope this video has helped somebody out there, and thank you for watching.